How are we doing, Jayhawks fans? This is your host, Nick Rondeau, bringing at you Jayhawks Daily content. And we had another exhibition game, so we got to see our boys in action again. And yes, have to bring it up. No Darren Peterson played. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Because two reasons, and we'll go into everything obviously today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But no Darren Peterson shows what this team's identity is without Darren. We don't plan, we don't hope, we don't anything without Darren Peterson this year. But we got to see who's the scorer, who's going to be aggressive, who's going to be, kind of the guy without Darren Peterson. Because God forbid if he's to tweak an ankle, miss a second half, anything along those lines. We don't want to, put that into the universe, but it could happen, and we need to see who's going to step up. And we saw a couple of those players tonight, so we're going to talk about it. We got Paul Mbia getting a huge shout-out from me. Yes, we had a red shirt announcement, and then how I'm feeling just about the team. So we're getting right into it with the game recap. I'll try to stay away from Paul Mbia right now. He gets his own segment, but I really liked how this team gelled, and I think it says it best when Trey White, a 3-year journeyman at 3 different schools, and yes, we'll take out that middle one because that's Louisville, and he didn't have good vibes there. There was no fun. They were losing a lot, but he said this is the most tightly knit group, the most gelled group he's ever been around. They just they kind of feel for one another, and you can see it on the court. And one, I love hearing that. Love my boys saying that. But also, you can see it on the court. Everyone is fighting for one another. This team is scrappy. They hustle. These are exhibition games. This one specifically is an exhibition game against a Division II school, and they're hustling. I mean, unbelievable. Like every loose ball, we've got someone diving after it. And I'll give the Cole Rosario shout out if you want. The offense, it's still not there for Cole. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, everybody. I'm seeing, what the comments are saying. But yeah, Cole was diving. He was deflecting. He was closing out on threes. Absolutely he was. But we expect an offensive kind of surgence from him this season if we're going to actually make it far. So I'm going to be critical. And again, I know he's the youngest of the group. It's hard to be so difficult on someone who just came up. But to be honest, again, he wasn't there. He was 1 for 5. They were all 3-pointers. He does not come in from the 3-point line, and maybe that's just what his goal is for these exhibitions. He just wanted to see if he had his stroke, and guess what? He didn't. But keep listening, guys. Keep listening. What did he do afterwards? Apparently, he was staying in the gym at Allen Fieldhouse until past 10:30 shooting. Kept shooting, wanted to stay in a rhythm. That's the stuff I like to hear. I only can see the games like like everybody else. I'm not in the gym. I'm not in practices. Surprisingly, you'd think I would with all my knowledge. I'm not seeing everything, and when a story like that comes out in a video, seeing him, I've taken a couple of bad games, offensively speaking, I'm going to work on it, and that's what I love to see out of Cole Rosario because he's going to be a developer. I'm not putting all the pressure on him right now, and by saying he was lost out there, I just mean he was lost in that game offensively. He could not help, and I think a lot of that is going to be Bill settling him down and say, hey, Cole, I know these are exhibitions, but we're going to need you. We're going to need you early on this season if you're going to start. And also, we're going to need you to come inside the 3-point line every once in a while. I think it's going to be a lot easier for him to establish his 3-point ball, which it's a pretty stroke. I mean, he catches it high. It releases high. It really is pretty. But, I mean, some of them weren't even touching the back of the rim. He'll have to clean it up. He's just got to take a couple to the rim. I think that would be very crucial for him to actually show, he's got range more than just 3-point range. And I think that will all develop. But yes, Cole Rosario did get some extra work in. He looked fine. And again, defensively, hustling, everything along those lines. Yeah, we appreciate that out of our guys. They all did very well on that. How many times are we getting steals and blocks? I just love it. And we're going to give Bryson Tiller another shout out. He got it for the first game. He's getting it for the second game too. This guy genuinely might be our, third best player. People are saying he could be the X factor. And I tend to agree. I mean, how is it not possible that with a team with only 2 returning players, really, Marco and Flory, I guess Jamari McDowell as well, but the real returning players, and then you got Darren Peterson there. You really need someone out of the woodwork to step up, and I think Bryson Tiller is going to be that piece. He hasn't quite shown his mid-range game, but he's shown excellent rebounding. I mean, he hustles and tips every single ball. It's incredible to watch him out there. He has that great standing length, that 9'3" standing, reach. He had a couple of blocks again too, just poking them out of people's hands. He's excellent defensively. I think yes, it's going to translate to these tighter games, these more competitive games. But Bryson Tiller get a huge shout out because I think this is exactly what the KU team needed. I mean, Flory is still a defensive stud. He did everything he knew he needed. He still got the quick steps, kind of his long strides to get to the rim. He's still he's just not fully polished as an offensive player. So we'll pull back on him a little bit, but how are we going to get that offense everywhere? I mean, how many weak side lobs did we see yesterday? I'm okay with that. Melvin's throwing them, Jaden Dawson's throwing them, Darren Peterson will be throwing them, and Flory's going to finish most of them because he's that athletic. He can rise over everybody. I've never seen someone more falsely listed at 6'9" in my life. Flory is like a 7-footer. I mean, him and Paul and Bia next to each other were almost side by side. But, I love Flory. I think he's going to have a great year. But we're going to have to see a little bit more than just a quick, left laser hook right at the rim. And a couple of them were missing bad, but I think when the flow of the game comes along, he's got less of a load taken off him with Darren Peterson in the game. We have faith that they'll all succeed, but have to shout out Flory for his defensive prowess, for keeping us in there, and again his rebounding, another 9 rebounds for him. We absolutely love to see it, but we also got to give a shout out, like Bill Self even did, and you're surprised. I know you're looking at the sections, you did not see his name. Melvin Council Jr. had easily the best game of the group, but I expect that. I hope that from what is supposed to be labeled by Darren Peterson as the best backcourt, joining obviously Darren Peterson, but I kind of expect that from Melvin, and I think it was kind of a reset. It was regression to the mean at a point where his first game where he was 1 for 9 from the field, it was terrible. I mean, he didn't play terrible. He wasn't. They weren't dropping. They weren't going in. And Melvin Council's stat line: 5 or 6, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Played in 16 minutes, had 6 assists, 16 points. It was a great performance from Melvin. He drew the defenders in perfectly. He was able to get his offensive game going very quickly. A couple of great transitions. And my favorite play that didn't turn into anything is when there was a weak side help defense. They were at the top of the key. They pass it up to the top. They're at the wing. They pass it up to the top of the key, and he had an immediate, just intuitive defensive play to run up, kind of trap him for a second, and stop the offensive break that was going to happen when he was wide open. It didn't turn into anything. It wasn't a deflection. It wasn't a steal. It's just intellect that I love that he has. It's something that you do not get typically from any player like that. So I loved seeing that out of my man Melvin. He had a great game. And we've got to go to my guy Paul and Bia. I said it. He was a beast in the paint. And the stat lines won't show anything. They won't show Paul and Bia having a great day. He was 3 for 4 from the field, 9 points, 9 rebounds. He had a couple of blocks in there. Nothing crazy. But it was just so impressive to see how big he was. And yes, it's a Division II school. There are some smaller guys that he's doing it. He was just bullying people in the paint, genuinely pushing them out of the way. And he does look thin. He's got to put on some weight, but I mean, it's just his hands. They're magnets to the ball. They are genuinely magnets. He gets every rebound he needs. Like, this team out-rebounded Fort Hays by 1 billion. This is exactly what you need. You've got Paul and Bia and Bryson Tiller grabbing every rebound possible. Flory's getting them. Trey White, I thought, was going to have to get a lot of rebounds this year, and he had 6 rebounds, for playing the most amount, or one of the most amount of minutes. He's going to be a great rebounder. He might not even have to if we're getting a lot of these lineups. I think the Bryson starting at the 4 lineup, maybe not starting, but could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Trey goes at that 3 for, bigger lineups, which, shout out, look at the UNC game. They got Henry Visar, 7-footer, Caleb Wilson, 6'10", and then they go to the 6-7 wing, I think that would probably be a better matchup to go Tiller at the 4, Flory at the 5, and then Trey White at the 3. But again, who knows? We'll do that preview next week. But I think some of those are going to have to come into fruition because Bryson's really stepping up. But Paul Mbia, man, the guy is going to be the dream center that we thought. He can develop for a couple of years. He does remind me a lot of Sheik Diallo. He was super thin, but he had the potential. Udoka Azubuike was a little bit, he was a lot beefier. He was stronger, and you saw him dominate the paint. Paul's kind of like a gazelle out there kind of working, and I love it. A magnet to the hands for getting those rebounds. It was excellent to watch, and Paul Mbia is going to be great in the absence of the Flory Badunga minutes, and I'm pumped to see because when he gets that athleticism up and the comfort up, he's one of the last guys to show up to this team, so give him some credit. He's going to be helping on those weak side lobs too, and he's going to be slamming them down. So I'm very excited for Paul Mbia. Guy's going to have a very good year, especially just as a backup role. I like to see those minutes for more than 12 minutes a game. I'd like to see him a little bit higher for him. That's how many he played last night. But again, it was a different game. So Paul gets his shout out, but have to show to our man Corbin Allen. He will be redshirting this year, and after watching the game, and again, he didn't have many minutes. I got to confirm here how many minutes he played. I think 3 minutes. Came at the end of the game. He was 0 for 4, 0 for 1 from 3. He had, I think, a minute in the first half. He just doesn't. Yeah, he didn't look ready, to be honest. He looked like he was trying to do too much to try to show that he didn't need a red shirt, maybe. He was going for a lot of post moves at the end, just kind of almost like hooking him illegally. But he just wasn't ready. I'm fine with it, I think. Obviously, Bill, you got my approval, but I just think we're going to see a lot out of some other wing players, and we've already got a little bit of depth there. I think Jamari McDowell played excellent. He really did. I didn't shout him out, but he played really well. He ran a lot of the point, which was interesting, but even looking at Giangallo, he barely played last night at all, which I'm interested to see why that happened. But he is one of the last guys to show up to the roster, and he didn't show a whole lot, but again, if that's the kind of depth that we have to just put somebody in there, I'm excited to see what the potential is for him. But yes, Corbin Allen will be redshirting, and I think it's good. He'll play with the team. He'll learn from him. He'll develop, quickly, hopefully. But he's got a whole year to develop. He'll have another 4 years of eligibility. Good for him. But we don't know if they're final news on all of the red shirts yet, as Monday will be the day we'll find out by game time if Samis is going to be redshirting. He's the only other guy I think that would make any sense. And I will say I would go 50-50 on Samis. He looked okay yesterday. He does have a pretty stroke. It really is. It's a good release. It's quick. It really is. It's kind of just like it's trademarked. It kind of can miss by a lot. But apparently his numbers were very effective. He was over 30% or around 30% from 3. It was a good release, but he missed a lot. And if I'm looking at, he was 0 for 2 with his 2 shots, both threes, both hit like back rim or an air ball on one of them. The one thing I will say I've got to shout him out was great passes. He had a couple of great cross-court passes, some big outlet passes. I just think they were also giving him some tough lineups. He was in a lineup where I think it was Paul Mbia, Flory Badunga, and then him. It was very tall. There was not much shooting in the lineups they were giving him, but I think he could still be he's going to be an excellent defender. He will contribute offensively just with a little bit of energy. But yeah, he doesn't look like he's all right there yet. Not super polished, but we'll kind of see how he goes for the rest of the season. If he gets redshirted, Bill, you know the team best, but I appreciate it. But that will be the red shirt updates for today. And just how am I feeling after these 2 games? 2 exhibitions, one against a top 10 team going into the season, another against a Division II team. I like it. The team is gelling, and one of them we got to see a Darren Peterson masterclass. And yes, that was mainly in the first half because DP was cramping and didn't like to play much the second half, but that Louisville game was exactly what we needed. We know what the identity we are with Darren Peterson. He's gonna score a lot of the points for us. He's gonna be taking the offensive load, and we're a great defensive team. The second half, everyone else contributes. It was on everyone else's shoulders for that second half. Trey White stepped up. Flory stepped up. And one thing I haven't talked about today that I loved and what I am feeling good about for this season is Elmarco Jackson. He doesn't look like he's lost a step at all. He looks 10 times more confident than he was his freshman year, which I think a couple of those times he was being a little overconfident, led to some turnovers. But Elmarko showed exactly what he was expected to have his freshman year, which was that 12 to 16 foot pull up jumper. And it was excellent yesterday. I mean, a couple of them went in, but it was to show the confidence. I mean, how did we not see him freshman year when he had zero confidence that his release was shaky, he was missing 3 feet to the right or left. It's just better to see this version of Elmarko. And yes, Division II team school. I'm not going to judge anything on this. You like to see confidence instilled in a player. That way you can hope for more positive results. And I think we're going to see that later on in the season. I think Elmarko will be a great help early on. But defensively, man, that guy is an absolute killer. And defensively, this team is a killer. They poke, pry, steal, grab, block, everything they can get. They are a team built on hustle. This is something that I was hoping for out of this team, because if we're going to be playing faster than everyone, we need more possessions, and we need more possessions by getting that ball from them. So I'm excited for the season. We got DP absolutely going to have a great year, going to be that player of the year conversation, no doubt. Flory Badunga going to have a huge leap, hopefully. We can hope that he can really contribute offensively as well as defensively. And then we're going to see how those group of transfers work. Jaden Dawson played okay. I think he still is developing into the system. Maybe he had a sore knee. He had a little bit of an ankle scare last night, but he came back in. We got to see that 3-ball drop from him, because really, 3-point-wise, Trey White is our leading 3-point shooter after 2 games. Again, offense, it's exhibitions, but Cole Rosario is going to have to step up. The freshmen are going to have to step up. Bryson's looking good. Jamari's going to be great off the bench. I really do like the build of this team. I think that we were a little bit underrated, and let's keep it that way. No more number 1 overall ratings. It's a voodoo curse, not for the Jayhawks this year. We start at 19, we climb up. So that's what we'll be doing, but I appreciate you guys for watching and listening today. Had to break down the game for you. Got a couple more episodes this week, and we'll get into the preview Monday for Green Bay and Doug Gottlieb. Can't wait. This Jayhawks season is starting to tip off soon, guys. So thank you again. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and rock chalk. Go Jayhawks.